Hey YouTube, what's up? Today I'm going to be meal prepping a pork ragu. The reason for this is really just when I get home from work, I'm really tired. I don't really want to do too much cooking, but I'm also trying to cook at home more. So I'm going to actually be vacuum sealing what I have going, and then we're going to reheat that later in the week or in future weeks because I'm going to freeze the vacuum sealed bags. It's a great way to save on costs, save on food waste, as well as save on time. Like a pasta never turns out very good when it's done in like 15 to 30 minutes. So I think I'm gonna be cooking down my pasta for like 3 hours, 4 hours today. So that should give a lot of nice flavors from my tomato and from my pork. So yeah, hopefully it's gonna be pretty good. We're gonna see how it turns out at the end.
Here we have a nice big pork shoulder. I'm just cutting the fat away from the meat and away from the bone. This is just going to help me cut away the pork skin a little bit easier. I find that when I use a big piece of meat, it's easier to just chop it up a little bit first and separate it so that doesn't, take a super long time to cook, even though this will be on the stove for a very long time. Taking away the pork skin here is super important because I know that it's just going to be rubbery after a long time and it won't shred down like the rest of the meat. So cutting it away very carefully is pretty important. I just want to keep as much of this fat on because the fat has so much flavor, but getting rid of that skin is just going to prevent it from keeping a rubbery texture and finding an unexpected chew in the middle of the pasta that I'm going to be eating. And every great ragu has a little bit of pork belly in it. So we've got some pancetta here, which is pretty much just Italian bacon, and just chopping it up to keep a uniform size, adding a little bit of a bite. Sweating down some chili flakes as well as some fennel seeds in oil together. I really want to toast my fennel seeds as well as bring out the flavor in the chili flakes. Normally in southern Italy they use Calabrian chili, but I guess it's pretty hard to find in Canada. So I'm going to add on some shallots and some crushed garlic just to build a little bit more of that oniony and garlicky flavor. And we're actually going to blend all of this together and use this as a paste. Starting with my pancetta, I'm just actually going to be browning it in a pan and then adding in my chili paste. This is just going to, create a nice little sear and a little caramelization. So if I add my wine, I can deglaze the pan a little bit nicely. Because I love overcrowding pans so much, I just decided to throw in all of my pork shoulder and just start to get a little bit of a sweat going, and then add in my tomato paste. I'm actually going to transfer this out of the pan as soon as possible because I know that there's just no pan in my house big enough to make this big of a recipe. So in my other pan, I'm just going to sweat down some mirepoix from my knife cutting video that I made, and then I'm going to deglaze with wine and transferring everything into the big pot. Normally, I probably should use a larger rondeau for this recipe, but I didn't actually think I was going to have as much as I did. So yeah, I think I'm just going to forego a little bit of the caramelization that I was going to look for and just straight up add in my tomato. And finally, this recipe's been on for like 5 or 6 hours. So now I'm going to add in my red wine vinegar just to bring in some of the acidity, which is going to help balance with some of that heat. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of white sugar as well because I want a sweet, acidic, spicy sauce that's just going to be a lot of volume. And of course, we cannot forget the butter. Now I'm just ladling in my sauce into the bags, probably 2 ladles per person. I think that that's going to be a good amount of volume, as well as like leaving a small amount left over for lunch the next day if I'm going to be eating it. I want to let it cool a little bit before I vacuum seal it. This is just going to keep it a little bit more compact in the freezer, and I'm able to control how much air is inside the bag a little bit easier. Wow. Alrighty, so I got 4 portion sizes here. They're all 4 ladles each, which I think is about enough for a meal for each of us. I'd say we're about heavy eaters, so this is 1 bag of sauce for 2 people. So this is a lot of food here. I think I worked out pretty well. I think the meat cost was about 30 bucks. Everything else was under $5, so yeah, about, what was that? 8 to 10 meals for what, 30 bucks? 35 bucks? That's pretty good. And it turns out they fit perfectly right beside my frozen pizza. Look at that. Can't even script this, it fits so good.
And there you have it, that's my ragu that I made today. So pretty much all I have to do now when I get home is toss the entire bag into a pot of boiling water. It's just gonna defrost in the bag and then heat up. I'm gonna use the same water for my pasta water. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm very excited for how easy some of these meals are, especially because this sauce tastes so good. Yeah.
So good.
It's so good.
It's really good.
Like, it's perfectly balanced. It's got a great amount of seasoning to it. Wow. Yeah, I'm very excited.
And it tastes really good with just bread.
Yeah, I was dipping some bread in it earlier.
So good.
Yeah, it's like the perfect amount of heat to salt,
And
to
sweetness.
sugar, to acidity, to munchability.
Yeah, crushability too.
Crushability, yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Tune in next time and let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see. Anyways, peace.